And so it has come to pass that 2021 started off about as strange as the whole of 2020. When we look to the United States of America, we see democracy is in danger. When we look at Europe, we see a frightened people. We see desperate governments doing whatever, it seems, to stem a pandemic that's raging. But we also see people living. We see people that are happy, people in love, people working, going about their lives, raising their children. We see winters coming on and we're happy for it. There's rain and snow and cold. And it's good. It feels good. It feels good to be alive in this strange time. And then when you think of being alive, and when you think you'll be alive tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, and next year, and the year after that, then you might think, well, what is it all for? We're going through this insanity. But then, why? Why is there insanity all around? And why do I have to suffer through all that? Why do I have to be a witness to all that's happening? Why do I have to go to work and raise children and live this life? Why can't I just float around, dissolve, be something that is not tied to this body, but be something that is truly free, a spirit, living the life of the spirits, living amongst ghosts and angels? Why can't I be that? And of course, there is no answer, or there is an answer. We need this physical experience in order to engage with the fullness of life. And why do we need to engage with the fullness of life? Well, because that is ultimately the reason of everything happening. There is a life force, a consciousness that wants to live, that wants to know about itself. And this consciousness, well, I've said it before, this is the supreme mind. It is a Godhead, we call the unity. And this supreme consciousness, it is the all. It contains everything that has ever been, that will ever be, and that is right now. It contains all possibilities, everything that might be, everything that might have been and may still come to pass. It is the all. And this supreme consciousness, because it is the all, also has a desire to learn. It has a desire to come into being, and so it does come into being. It materializes, and you see this all around you. This desire to materialize from the supreme mind is what we'd call the life force. And the materialization of the life force, well, that's you and I. And so here we are. We need to be alive. In a sense, you might say, so that's not for my sake. It's for the sake of some, well, what would you call a supreme mind, a consciousness that is so vast and eternal, that encompasses everything. I mean, that is an enormous power. And how can we as individuals even conceive of that? Well, the thing is, of course, we can conceive of that because I just did. And if you didn't know, well, now you do know. And it may sound abstract. It may sound like, well, okay, great, there is this super consciousness. But what's it got to do with me? And the thing is, it has everything to do with you. It's not abstract at all. If this super consciousness materializes in us people, if it materializes in you, then you are that super consciousness in a different shape. And if that super consciousness is expressing itself through the life force, then you are the life force. You are an expression of the life force. And you carry all that within you. And if you carry within you the super consciousness and the life force, and you also walk around with your ego, you walk around with your body, and you are all that, then you know that you too are in fact a divine being. So then you might say, well, yeah, great, I'm a divine being, but still I have a shitty job. And I worry about tomorrow. I worry about my kids. I worry whether I'll still have a house by tomorrow. And then maybe, because I don't mean to talk in abstractions, I want to make this very concrete. If you think you too are in fact a divine being, then maybe the life that you're leading is completely wrong. You're leading a life as if you're a human slave, enslaved to a desperate government that has its own agenda. You live your life as if you're just this human that has to be like all the other humans, that has to work at a shitty job and has to worry, when in fact you don't have to do any of these things. You might just say, well, I won't do it anymore. And then there are consequences to that, of course. Let's assume, you have to pay the rent and you want to get out. If you stop paying the rent, you will get out. You will be evicted. And if you stop going to your job, well, they won't pay you anymore. And from that follows, well, what follows from that? From that follows a different kind of life. And you might say, yeah, far worse, I'll be out on the streets. Well, let's say you would be. That maybe that wouldn't be so bad. Maybe that would be exactly what you want. It's just that, as Shakespeare said, or as Hamlet said, I think, there's the rub. You can't be free if you're caught in a prison, and this prison is all around you. We're all caught in this insane life of man-made society. But it's a prison that is there because you allow it to be there. It is a prison of the body, but it is also a prison of the mind. And you can free your mind, and you can alter that system just because you want it to be different. If you want to spread out your mind all the way to the universe, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take great fortunes. It doesn't take anything. You just sit down and close your eyes and let your mind wander all the way to the clouds, to the stars, to galaxies. Or you let your mind go blank and it doesn't wander anywhere. It is just one with the superconsciousness, one with this Godhead we call the unity, one with the all. You can do that, and it's good, and there's nothing abstract about it, because what you do is you say to yourself, I do want to leave this prison. And you sit down. Well, and as one of the great French philosophers once said, we all sit down on our buttocks. So that's what you do. You sit down on your buttocks, close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and there you are. You're free. You're free, you're human, you're alive, and it's good.